From humble beginnings to becoming a successful entrepreneur, she's built a thriving business, lifting others along the way. But what's her story? My guest today is Dr. Kesha Christie, the force behind KCLH Full Business Solutions, a leader who's turned adversity into opportunity. I'm Archibald Gordon. This is Profile. Dr. Kesha Christie, welcome to Profile.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have a fascinating story, and we're happy that you've come today to share it with us. Let me summarize parts of it for our viewers before we go into details. Founder and CEO of KCLH Full Business Solutions.
Yes.
Your story is one of overcoming adversity, from poverty to being a self-made success in the world of accounting, chartered accountant by age 27. That's just part of your story. It also includes pursuing higher education and navigating the challenges of entrepreneurship. You do a lot of training, a lot of mentorship in those kinds of areas, community building as well. But your journey starts in Stony Hill. Tell us about the early days growing up.
Okay, so my early days in Stony Hill was one of, I would say, I was a very poor person, and I remember that my mother left us very early to go for a better life and to look for our father. So one of the things that we encountered as a result of that was hunger. We did not have anything to eat. We had to ensure that we walked the hills of Stony Hill. So our home was between Old Stony Hill Road, Brooks Level Road, Erie Castle Road, and Long Lane, right at Bridgemount.
And the we there's three of you.
So it was three of us. There were three girls. My mother would have had three of us as the eldest. And I was like the mom there. And when our mother left, she thought it was for better. She thought that she was sending funds. She was in fact sending funds, but the funds were going to my grandmother and aunt, but we weren't getting that. So as a result of that, we were living way below the bar. As I was saying, food was actually, that was leisure for us. We had to ensure that, I had to ensure that my sisters were fed. So I would climb the trees, ensure that I got some banana. We have a little cold stove, and I would catch it up when it don't rain, because Archie, if it rained, it was a disaster. If it rained, it meant that we have to do some plum or something like that. God bless Stony Hill, because there was a lot of fruit trees. So our life was one where we had to ensure that we are fighting from an early age. That age was like by 12, 13 for me. My sister, who was 3 years my junior, and then the smaller one was 10 years my junior. So she was just 3. So we lived fending for each other at that time.
How were you processing that? Because you're a teenager.
Yes.
Young teenager.
Young teenagers. Just started high school, yes.
And also trying to take care of younger children. How are you processing that?
I think one of the things in Archie is that the older child, so in my case, you're the nurturer. Chicken and those things wasn't a part of our meal at any point in time, It was just ensuring that we can get a little mackerel or whatever at the time, so we could cook, and then we go to our bed. We didn't have...
You mentioned school a moment ago.
Yes.
In the case of primary school, your school would have been disrupted. You would have been moving around.
Yes. So my life the stability wasn't there in my life. So I started out at, what I can remember was Stella Morris Prep. And then after that, I think the father wasn't paying any school fee or anything like that. So we got booted. I got booted. And then I went to Constant Spring All Age. And then after that, I graduated from Stony Hill All Age with the common entrance to go to the Queen's School.
So the Queen's School now,
yes.
Does life get better?
No, man, life get worse, because as I said, Mommy have the love of her life. She went overseas and trying to find him, but she didn't realize that my dad was in fact divorced her, because there's a way that you can actually be divorced and without the person knowing. So she went overseas saying that she's making a better life for her girls, but then there was a demise. So she went overseas and she left us with her grandmother and aunt. And it was, everything turned upside down. We weren't being fed, we weren't getting any lunch money, anything like that, clothing and all of that. But in the latter years, my mother said she didn't know that all of that was happening. So there is some amount of, regret in that life. But we had to stick it out.
And especially at this point, you would have been in high school.
Yes, I would have been in high school. And as a matter of fact, my sister and I went to the Queen's School, the one that is 3 years my junior. So we were like, ride or die. So my sister and I went to the Queen's School. We used to bum our ride, go to school, because remember, we were under tight constraints. We didn't have the money. So if somebody is going that area, when we're at Brooks Level Road now, if we're seeing somebody going to school and they were kind enough to pick us up and carry us to school, or we could have get the country bus that is go slow at that time to go to school, but most of the time it's whatever our budget could. But let me tell you something, Archie, school wouldn't miss us. And then in school, the June plum lady, and we don't know what inside the canteen at Queen's look like, how we couldn't afford the food in there. It was just this lady that was always at the side, at the pool side, and she used to sell fruits, and June plum was my sister and I, fruit of choice. I wasn't considered one of the brilliant ones in high school, but I survived. As a matter of fact, I think I would have done, probably I got like 4 CXCs at the first level, and then I went to 6 commercial. I got enough to go to 6 commercial. And at 6 commercial, I did another 3 or 4 subjects, and I got those, which included typewriting and so on, which would have assisted me now in getting into the whole clerical and secretarial field.
So you got your first job, no?
Yes, man. So remember, Archie, I didn't have the liberty of staying to go to A levels and things like that. I went to 6 commercial, got the commercial subjects, and then I went straight to work. As a matter of fact,
17.
This is going on 17. After I graduated, right after I graduated, I never have any honeymoon. I had to be on the streets again to try and get a job. I was so desperate that I was going to a gas station to go and pump gas to work. And then I said to myself, then suppose my school friend them see me a pump gas. And I said, within a week, no, so I was walking. I was one of those persons that ensured that I knock and walk from door to door and place to place. Walk and whatever means I had to get again, my begging to go and try and get a work. I was so fortunate that I got a job with the insurance brokerage firm as a typist.
All right, I want to talk about that first job, but we have to take our first break on Profile. My guest is Dr. Kesha Christie. She's founder and CEO of KCLH Full Business Solutions, and we're talking about her upbringing and what drove her to success. More after these messages.